Reflections Interactive would become something of a key figure for racing games during the PlayStation's lifetime. Destruction Derby would help bolster Sony's burgeoning console at launch, while its sequel capitalised on its predecessor's potential. However, an acquisition from GT Interactive later, and the Newcastle-based studio needed a new hit away from Demolition Derbies. Looking to the likes of Bullet and Starsky and Hutch, Driver looked to recreate classic car chases in mission-based form. Technically ambitious, action-packed, and overflowing with content, this racer proves a great time worthy of its legacy, despite a few rather frustrating missions that will scare some players away. John Tanner, a racing driver turned police detective, is sent undercover to a crime syndicate led by the mysterious Castaldi. Initially working as a getaway driver in Miami, Tanner's skills soon see him moving up the ladder as he edges closer towards his target, even as a number of complications threaten his position. It eventually builds up to an elaborate plot that Tanner is caught in the middle of. There's a real 70s movie vibe to Driver, with a lot of dialogue attempting that cool factor these films were known for. While the FMVs are middling quality and the voice work ranges from acceptable to awful, it definitely builds an atmosphere unique amongst the PlayStation 1's library.
You know some cat somewhere's gonna take a visit to the morgue with a cap in his ass. See, we're gonna bust him out. You're gonna drive him away, all the way into a sweet $8,000, you dig?
Moving their expertise from destructive derbies to city driving, Driver benefits from a sturdy engine which feels attuned for mission driving. Handling straddles the line between realism and arcade, seeing turns skid without the wider drifts of Ridge Racer. Along with a softer brake, a handbrake function lets you both take tighter turns and rotate your car 180 degrees, feeling satisfying to pull off. Physics feel weighty, matching the heavier muscle cars you're often driving, including the Buick Skylark. Despite moving away from Destruction Derby, there's still enjoyment to be found from impactful crashes and wrecks, such as taking out targets or chasing police. DualShock functionality works rather well too, feeling just as responsive as the D-pad. Simply put, Driver feels great to race around. The meat of the experience comes from Undercover mode, as Tanner takes on missions given by the crime syndicate. These missions are often time-based, but come in a variety of tasks. Driving to key destinations, wrecking a target car, and escaping the police are just some of the objectives you'll be facing. Some missions are spread across multiple parts, with story cutscenes in between. After a certain point, you'll then move on to the next city. In a non-linear fashion, you can often choose between multiple missions.
But this car is hot, man. I mean real flame grill, super hot. Name's Deco.
And while the general path isn't altered, certain mission paths result in one of two endings. This, coupled with cheats rewarded after an initial completion, encourage a second run-through after the initial 10-hour playthrough. It's just a shame there are some frustrations that will test your patience. Driver proved infamous for its opening tutorial, tasking you with completing several actions without much explanation. While this is doable with practice, certain missions prove far more testing. Tight time limits, coupled with vehicle damage that can end your mission sharpish, adds adrenaline into the proceedings, but also proves a curse during harder runs. In particular, the last handful of missions in New York can be excruciatingly difficult. It doesn't help that police AI is insanely aggressive, showing no qualms in attempting to ram you off the road. it borders on immersion breaking, as they also seem to treat civilian traffic with the same gung-ho approach. Consequently, any tasks involving escaping the police prove grueling and may cause some to give up before reaching the end. However, these frustrations wash over when you appreciate Driver's technical accomplishments. Reflections would craft 4 large sandbox areas, bordering on open world, with distinctive traits which personify each. Miami has bright lighting and beaches, New York is grayer and prone to snow and rain, and San Francisco has the steep roads Bullitt made famous. If you wish to recreate the cinematic action of those films, you can even edit your replays in the film director mode with a host of options to stylize your gameplay. In a time before Grand Theft Auto 3 set the open world format ablaze, Driver stood out immensely. While you get little chance to explore in undercover, each map can also be leisurely explored in free roam to appreciate the sheer scope of each city. There's also a bevy of challenges to partake in, such as chasing pursuits and checkpoint races. The game is simply overflowing with content. That being said, this scope comes with a sacrifice. Driver is not the best looking game, as while cars and buildings bear a fair amount of detail and crashes look great, frequent slowdown and pop-in plagues the game. Intense chases with multiple cop cars cause such noticeable slowdown that the timer starts to run slower, and naturally this can affect steering input. It's not the worst the console would see, but it's still a shame. There are some cool touches in fairness, such as plentiful NPCs who dive out of your path should you drive towards them. The audio fares better, with roaring car engines and shattering crashes sounding excellent. Voice work is cheesy but fits the story's tone, and the 70s funk music, which would fit into an episode of Starsky and Hutch, proves pretty enjoyable, even on its own merits. A critical and commercial success at launch, Driver's legacy can still be felt today as rafts of open world games share its DNA. On its own terms, Reflection's effort still remains great fun, a sturdy and competent driving game that impresses with 4 large cities to drive in, reams of content and a great atmosphere that captures the game's inspirations well. There are some notable frustrations, and the scope of this can push the console beyond its limits, but these feel inconsequential next to all the pros of this one. For driving aficionados and those wanting to see the PlayStation truly tested, this remains a great addition to the collection.
Get us out of here!